I'm Samantha.
I'm Wes. You want to do it that way?
Sure.
My name is I did it again! My name is Wes, and this is my wife Samantha. We've been married for about 8.5 years.
I'm Brandon.
And I'm Brandon's wife, Jamie.
We got married in 2002, so 16 and a half years. We have 3 kids.
We have a 3-year-old son, Josiah, that we adopted. Lost it. First one is like.
I was primarily the person who had this in issues, and as we tried to move ourselves forward, we just felt like we were very stuck.
We heard about VowsToKeep through our pastor's wife. I had been talking to her about what Wes and I have been going through, and she gave us their card, and we talked about it, and we emailed them.
We heard about VowsToKeep from our church, actually, and so we just reached out and just asked who they knew for strong biblical counseling. That was the first name that popped up.
We had some issues that were rooted in some trust problems, some insecurity, things such as even finances. We were dealing with some issues that had to do with our in-laws.
We were unfamiliar wholly with a process of counseling, and I assumed we would come in and we would sit down and we would talk about like what we felt brought us there. So I was really uncomfortable to go in and, because I'm thinking it's going to be someone coming down on me. That just wasn't what happened.
It was shocking at first to get homework. Not something that we had experienced through previous counseling, but very good.
It forced us not to come in one time a week, talk about it, and then we go home and we're done. They're asking me very specific questions about what God says about these situations, and whatever your response is, defend it biblically. Not, in your opinion, biblically defend what you're going to say. And for me, it was like, man, okay, I really have to think about if what I'm believing is really biblical or not. And so, to me, that was the part that caught me off guard, was the homework portion of it and how much that did throughout the week to expand on it in a way that was real and that was biblically supported. And some of those were tough.
We were able to keep that homework to be able to use even now if we need to reference it back to any of it. David and Tracy met with us together as a couple.
They have so many gifts together to really encourage us biblically what we should be doing as a couple.
It helped to even kind of relax the atmosphere.
And then to have 2 points of view. So if I was struggling with something, David could always offer advice from a husband's point of view. And then Tracy was able to encourage me as a wife and also provide Brandon with a wife's point of view.
We did have this roadmap. So the first 2 or 3 weeks that we were with David and Tracy, we kind of went over so where are the issues at in our marriage that we need to seek biblical counseling on. So we would have maybe a bucket for finances and a bucket for in-laws and a bucket for trust and those things. And so each week we knew the roadmap of, all right, this is where we're going to be when we're healthy and through this, and we kind of knew where that direction was going.
That really helped me have a sense of understanding of where we would be going in our counseling and also how to prepare for that.
Every issue that we came up against, we sought the answer to that issue through the Word of God.
Look at what the Bible actually says about marriage, about actually what my role as a husband is and her role as a wife is. That for us was something that we had never explored really. We never thought about what was the purpose of our marriage. Each area that we were identifying, the Bible directly instructs us on what we're supposed to be doing. And so for the issues that you have, I don't care what your issues are in your marriage, the Bible absolutely has the answer for it. And for us, as we worked into this process, it was very, very focused. It wasn't David and Tracy's opinion. It was, what does the Bible say about that very situation? And for us, that was a needed response.
Because we would go every week and really just read and study the Word of God. It just was centered around marriage. And things that the majority of all people go through in their
They
marriage.
were very good about helping us examine our hearts and maybe what sins were we holding on to that maybe we were not aware of, and then some that we were not willing to let go of also, and to really submit to the Lord in that. And so the Bible is absolutely applicable to marriage and any issue because it ultimately deals with our sin.
What does the Word of God say about this specific type of issue? And that's very impressive that any issue that we've ran into, the answer can be found for that through the Word of God.
We had never really talked about what spiritual gifts we had and what ways we could work together to further the gospel in many areas. So for us to identify those gifts and then to work our way through that to the point where we're starting to find ways to implement those gifts was an eye-opener for us.
We're more stronger in our marriage because we go to the Word of God.
We've actually utilized this counseling in other people's lives already, and the fruit behind that just shows how powerful the Word of God is whenever you go to it for your source. And having a counseling service that goes to the Word of God always for the answers, that really spoke to us, and we would want to be able to use that and utilize that into others' lives. For us to be able to serve in this same sense. So we could come alongside VowsToKeep and be able to bring biblical counseling to other couples that may need it just as we have needed it.
If you can look at your marriage and say, I am not glorifying God, we are not loving one another as God would have us love one another, then you need to think about using VowsToKeep. They will give you the tools that you need to be successful in your marriage going forward.